A new Netflix film could spell another Best Actor nomination for Michael Keaton. Let's talk Worth. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film on Netflix called Worth, starring Michael Keaton, Stanley Tucci, Amy Ryan, among others. And it is a very dramatic picture. It's about the 9/11 compensation fund, and of course, timeliness of it coming out in the beginning of September, the 20th anniversary of 9/11. A lot of people sort of interested again in sort of hearing people's stories and all of that kind of thing. So they dropped this film Worth right at the right time. But before we get into the movie, I want to welcome you to Dan Reviews It. Please consider subscribing down below there, or maybe even hitting that notification bell to get all of my new video notifications. You can click that like or comment as well. Any of that does help my channel out, and it's much appreciated. So let's get into this movie. Look, no pun intended, but it's worth saying up front, Michael Keaton is one of my favorites. There is a video buried somewhere in my channel. We did it about a year and a half, 2 years ago, with my buddy Joe, about ranking Michael Keaton's best performances, sort of going over his entire filmography. So, look, I'm a fan, I'll just say that up front. But I think I should be. I think everybody should be. I don't think I'm giving false praise here. I go back with him to the Beetlejuice days, and, after that, I hadn't seen Batman for a while. It took me about 20 years to see that Batman movie he did. But, because of Beetlejuice and some of his other earlier roles, Mr. Mom and stuff, I was a fan early on. But it wasn't until probably, I want to say, around that sort of comeback area, with Birdman and The Founder and Spotlight and all of that, and the Spider-Man movie, that I really was like, this guy is not only, a really fun person to watch on the screen, a great actor, but he is like top tier for me. I don't think he's ever given an inauthentic performance. I think even in movies that are more silly, like Need for Speed, where he's clearly just, having a laugh playing this character, he brings this energy to it. And I said this after I saw Spider-Man, was it Homecoming he's in? Whatever that first Spider-Man movie was with Tom Holland. The end of that movie, the tag scene where he's in the jail, Michael Keaton can act more and emote more with just a lift of his eyebrow or a slight smirk than most people can do with a whole monologue. Keaton is one of my favorite actors. So, okay, we're gonna kind of start there. I think he could get nominated for this performance, though. So let's talk about the movie itself. Enough of my praising of this great man. But yeah, so like I said, he plays Kenneth Feinberg, and this is based on a real story of what a lot of people did go through after losing loved ones in 9/11, be it, in the buildings or in, first responder companies or what have you. So he is appointed a head of the 9/11 victim compensation funds, okay, and his law partner, Camilo Brios, played by Amy Ryan, is appointed as administrative deputy. So they basically have to figure out what people are going to be compensated, so they don't, basically sue the airlines and stuff for this going down, because obviously the airline maybe dropped the ball with, checking for weapons and stuff going on. Obviously, look, we know the aftermath of 9/11, in terms of airplanes and airports, is, the TSA was stepped up immediately, and, we have all of these, very rigid checks now, which, I'm completely fine with. I am, fine. I'll take my shoes off and I'll, you can x-ray my bag, whatever. I think it keeps everybody safe. So, but, it certainly wasn't happening before 9/11 to this degree, and so there was talk of suing the airlines for that. So Stanley Tucci here plays this guy, Charles Wolfe, who lost his wife in the attacks, and he is taking huge issue with the defense fund that has been presented to the people. They did sort of like a town hall where Feinberg went up there and said, okay, like we've got this mathematic formula and da 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 da, so this is going to happen. So everybody's sort of yelling and hollering at him, and Wolf stands up and says, you know what? Let's hear this guy out, whatever. While in the meantime, he's got this website going about how to fix the defense fund and all of this, and he has way more people sign on with him than Feinberg has signed on with the official defense fund. So people are not going to sign unless he can convince them that that is what's best for them. And we meet along the way a few different families and people that I think they chose sort of, more, okay, let's check this box and let's check this box. For example, there's something that spoke to me as a gay man was they have this gentleman who lost his lover, his fiance, whatever, in the crash, but legally they couldn't get married, of course, at that time, and they had, they were going to have some sort of civil union or whatever, but the man who perished, his parents were not, down with this, and claimed that he was straight and all of this. So, the defense fund was going to go to them and not the person, who he actually, was in love with. And so there's, I'm sure hundreds of stories like all of these, if not thousands in this, in this movie. They sort of just, all right, let's choose one and kind of take it out. And I'm not even sure which ones are real and which ones are not. In fact, from what I read, because I tried to see, like, are any of these the testimonials real? Because sometimes these testimonials where they're talking to the lawyers about their story seems so real. I wondered, like, are these the real people sort of reliving these moments on camera? And they weren't. These are all actors. But I thought that might have been a nice touch if they could have gotten, some of the people there. But I guess some of these are sort of composite people because of sort of, I guess, I don't know if it's NDAs that they had to sign or whatever, but whatever the case may be, they decided not to use, the real people in some of the instances. But anyway, Feinberg eventually gets involved himself with some of these cases. He was originally just sort of, seeing over everything and letting his people do the sort of the dirty work of the interviews. But it allowed him to sort of be a little more human, and he meets up with Wolf, the Stanley Tucci character, and they sort of have it out that way. Friendly, of like, hey, I respect what you do, but X, Y, and Z. And so, look, I looked into, I've taken a habit to sort of look into the reality of what a based on a true story movie is and what isn't. And here, other than, the composite stuff and some minor details between Feinberg and Wolf, everything does seem kind of legitimate here. And it makes for a riveting movie. Now, this is not a feel-good, of course. We know this. And in fact, when the anniversary of 9/11 came around, I sort of made a point to not kind of watch the news that day and not watch, all of these stories about it. It's very, very hard to watch. And I'm not one of these people who says, oh, we shouldn't remember, history or whatever. No, we absolutely should. But I remember it clearly. I mean, I was working at a radio station as a programmer at the time. So we had to figure out in short order, okay, well, we have to break, the music and go into some news, but we didn't have a news department. We were a small station. So I remember that day very, very clearly. And, we had an important job as a radio station to try and get the news out. So, but this is kind of the one thing I decided, all right, well, it's a new movie, so I'm going to review it anyway. It's Michael Keaton, love him. So I sat through it, and it was hard at times. I was definitely crying at a few parts. This movie really, really is, I think, going to get you where it's intending to. And it does beg this great question. We open up with Feinberg teaching and having sort of a discussion with his class about what is a life worth, according to the law kind of thing. And, it was an interesting topic and interesting, discussion point and think piece of like, yeah, what, what is it worth? But this movie makes it real because it was real for thousands of people, and it's a story that I didn't necessarily know. I mean, I knew that a lot of first responders families got really kind of screwed in the aftermath. Jon Stewart, lifelong New Yorker, was really kind of waving the flag for that, kind of championing that for years and years and years. So, I kind of followed that. But, you don't think about all of the family members who lost somebody and are affected by this. So it's an important movie to see. I think it's a really, it's not a feel good one, but I think it's one that ranks up there really with, among some of Keaton's best work. I do think that if the Academy doesn't forget by the time voting rolls around in January, I think we could see another nomination here, if not from the Oscars, maybe from SAG or something. I think he gives just a knockout performance here. Yeah, this is a great movie. We're gonna grade it here. I think other than just a few tweaks of like, okay, some of the stuff they made up about the characters and to just put that extra oomph in there, I could go either way on that. I don't think it necessarily detracted from the movie, but I think there's enough emotionally real stories that they could have, maybe gone without a little bit of that extra sort of push for the drama. It's a dramatic enough moment in history. We will get it without all that. But that's really the only, kind of gripe I have with this movie. It's a really, really good watch. And I leave Worth with an A-. All right, so that will do it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here with another movie review or a TV review or what have you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.